Okay, so Anthony, I thought we would talk about Bitcoin.
Okay.
So, you are kind of the expert about Bitcoin.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. Just maybe a hobbyist.
So, how
Bitcoin
long have you been
hobbyist.
involved with Bitcoin?
Probably, I first heard about Bitcoin in probably 2012, and I'm really kicking myself that I didn't buy some then because it was about $20. But
$20 per Bitcoin.
Yeah, per Bitcoin. It was about $20.
So how much is it worth now?
Right now it's about 8,500 somewhere.
You've got
around
to
there.
be kidding me.
No, I wish I was. But
Wow.
I got into it as a hobbyist around 2014, a little before I moved abroad, and I got into what is known as mining. So to briefly explain what that is miners, people who call themselves miners, they buy special computers, which are called ASICs, and that stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. And the application specific part means that the chips that you're using in that computer can only be used for one specific purpose, and that purpose is to solve cryptographic problems, thus creating Bitcoin. So that's what I was doing. I was running a mining computer.
So when you say mining, like mining, you're getting little bits of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
tiny fragments.
Exactly.
You have this chip in your computer finds this cryptographic problem.
Yes.
So your computer, you get the reward
Yes.
by getting a small bit of Bitcoin.
Exactly. So usually you can mine, it's called solo mining. You can do solo mining where you're only working with whatever computers you have. But what's a lot more popular is pool mining, where you join a pool and you work together with a group of miners to solve one problem. And once the block is discovered, as they say, each block contains 50 Bitcoins. So depending on the computing power that you were giving the pool, you get paid out in equal measure. So for people, that's a lot more profitable than solo mining because you could solo mine for years and never find a block. So, yeah.
So, yeah, for somebody who has no concept of this, the first thing they're going to ask is, well, who creates these blocks of, who makes this?
That's a good question.
It's like where are we from? Like it's like a chicken and an egg thing.
Exactly.
So,
and that's a very interesting point to bring up because allegedly the creator of Bitcoin is someone called Satoshi Nakamoto. And he is the alleged creator, as I said. But the reason I say alleged is that no one has ever met this person. It's he's kind of a mystery. So no one knows his real identity. Some people have had made theories that it could be a group of people. It could be a specific person and that's just an alias. But no one really knows who this guy is and where he came from. And it's a really interesting concept.
So then how did this take hold? How did this get a foot in society? You know what I mean? Like get a foot in the door, I should say.
Yeah.
So somebody creates this system. This person is a mystery.
Yes.
But then the internet grabbed onto it and said, hey, this is a really cool thing. I want to buy this. It's quite interesting that this market came out of nowhere, and now it's challenging traditional currency systems.
Exactly. Well, it started, there was this this was like before the internet was even really what it is now, but I think in like 2007, 2008, there was like a group of people called the cypherpunks, and they were kind of like anarchistic programmers that were kind of anti-establishment, and they ran this email mailing list, and they were just collaborating together, talking about creating some kind of digital cash. And Satoshi Nakamoto was a member of that mailing list, and that's where it kind of gained the underground movement And really, I think there's what is called a white paper, and that's a document that details everything about Bitcoin. And it's really big. It's maybe like I'm not sure exactly how large, but it's like a book. And a lot of the reason it took off is people would read it and they would believe the technology, and they would try to sell it to other people because they believed in it, really.
Wow. That's an interesting history. And so basically this community read this white paper,
Yeah.
and then it took off
From
and gained
there,
momentum, and then here we are today.
yeah, but I think a big part of it, as you mentioned, is really just convincing people, because really fiat currency, I mean, if you break it down, it's just paper, right? It's just paper that the government makes.
It's an illusion.
Yeah, and the only reason that it has any value is because we trust in it, right? So if I give you a $100 bill or whatever, you're going to trust that you can spend that, right, to buy something. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin. Like, it's a process of convincing people that because this technology makes something that is scarce, it cannot be replicated, it cannot be without the proper means, it cannot be moved or taken, that it is a valid way of transferring value digitally. So that's a really big part of it, and a lot of people have bought into it.
Wow, very interesting. So, Anthony, we're talking about Bitcoin. Now, you've invested in Bitcoin before?
Yeah, a bit.
Do you still invest a lot now?
I haven't recently.
Okay, so why did you stop?
I stopped because I was getting a little anxious about seeing my portfolio swing like up and down by like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in a day, and I kind of decided that I would take out the money that I invested in it and just let my profits ride, basically.
Right. So basically, originally then, you were using Bitcoin for speculative purposes, right? Not to actually buy things. You weren't using it as a means to actually make transactions.
That is correct. I've only bought one thing with Bitcoin, and that was it's called a hardware wallet, which is basically, it looks like a USB stick, but it's a way to secure your funds.
So do you think that in the future we will have people using Bitcoins more, like it's going to become a viable alternative to actually for commerce to pay for things?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think Bitcoin will be what we all use, but it's definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely the archetype for what is coming.
It's the pioneer.
Yes, the pioneering technology. There's going to be something that is similar to Bitcoin that we use as a digital payment system.
Yeah. So a lot of people are freaked out about Bitcoin. What are some reasons people are skeptical against it?
That's a good question. One question that I've been asked before is who controls it? Everyone always wants to know who's in charge, right? Who's the CEO?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're so conditioned to this kind of system. But that is the thing. And it's kind of scary for some people, but there is no control over it. It's a program at the end of the day, and there's no governing body. There's no government organization that really has this say. I mean, specific governments will try to regulate the markets to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, the power is in the hands of the people that use it, really. And as long as people use it, there will be some kind of value to it. Just as long as we use paper money, there's value to it. As long as it's exchanged, right?
Right, and some people have made some good points. For example, nobody foresaw the use of e-commerce or smartphones or social media, but these things adopted and ramped up quickly.
Yes.
So do you think this could happen with these crypto technologies? Is that the right way to say it? Crypto technologies?
Cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. Or blockchain technologies.
Blockchain technology, okay.
I think it is. It's very rapid right now. It's kind of becoming a household word. Whereas when I first got into it, if I talked to someone about Bitcoin, they would look at me like I was crazy. Like They would look at me like I had a hole in my face or something. Like,
Right.
But now it's people know, like even older people who aren't really so in touch with technology know what it is or have at least heard about it. But I think the biggest hurdle to mass adoption is that as it stands now, it takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of know-how in order to safely, because the reason why I say safely is because if you're dealing with Bitcoin, you're in charge of securing your funds. So, if someone, hacks into your funds or something, then it's your fault. You don't have anyone to blame. Whereas if you have your money in a bank,
You can't call customer service.
exactly, you can't call customer service. So there's a big hurdle as far as the knowledge you need to safely and effectively maneuver in that space. So I think until some like second party or third party comes about and makes it more user friendly, I don't really think it's gonna be ready to really take over until that happens, because either more people need to be educated and know how to use it and how to purchase it, how to store it, etc., or there needs to be some huge company that's going to say, look, we'll manage it for you. You just need this app or something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, the crossover. They always say, like, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
Yeah.
And if Bitcoin or some currency becomes the primary source of transactions, I think a lot of the ills and the dodgy stuff we have with banks will seep into it. It will be interesting if they could keep it out.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But I think one thing that's interesting about the currencies is that I think a lot of old people will go for it. I think a lot of old people usually are hesitant about technology and change, but the thing that they have a lot of money that they're sitting on, usually older people, and they also don't trust the government. They've been around a long time. And so I think these crypto currencies are going to be very attractive to a lot of tech unsavvy people. What do you think about that?
I think you have a point. I think that's, they'll probably more so than young people have money to invest. But I think that's, like I said before, it's just there's such a, I've spent like so many hours reading about these kind of technologies and just really obsessing over it. And I still feel like there's so much I don't know.
Right.
So.
Well, I guess we all got to learn.
Yeah.